Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Kelly, and here is lesson 2.9, and it's all about classifying triangles. Please get that written in your math notebook, as well as today's date, and when you have that done, come on back. Okay, so in your math notebook, I also want you to make a boxes and bullets list with everything you know about triangles. So triangles would go in the box, and then put bullets down below and list anything you know about triangles on it. Pause the video while you do that and come back once you have it done. Okay, so here's some things that I wrote down about triangles. Your list might not match mine, but if I wrote some things that you don't have, why don't you add these to your list? So there you can see that I have the triangles written in a box, and here's my bullet pointed list. So triangles are three-sided. We know they have three vertices, right? The vertices are the corners, so if I was going to draw the triangle, I would know these are the vertices, right? We know that the lengths of the sides can be different. We know that angles can be different sizes. And we know that there are different types of triangles. So any of these things you don't have written down, add to your list, and then maybe in class you can tell me some other things that you have written. And then I want to talk about classifying the triangles, right? So we can classify triangles in a variety of ways, and one of those ways is by their angles, paying attention just to the angle measurements that are within the triangle. So just to review for you, what I've listed here are the three different types of angles that we mainly are going to be talking about today. We've talked about these before, I know, but just to make sure that you know these things, you might want to jot these down. So remember, an acute little angle is an angle that measures less than 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is an angle that measures more than 90 degrees, and a right angle is an angle that measures exactly 90 degrees. Okay, so jot the information about this that you need in your notebook, and then when you pause this, when you're done, come back. Okay, so we can use that information about the types of angles to help us classify our triangles. So I've made myself another boxes and bullet list, triangles classified by angles. So probably not surprising, I could have an acute triangle. An acute triangle is a triangle in which all the angles are smaller than 90. Make sure you have these written in your notebook. You're going to need them. An obtuse triangle, on the other hand, is a triangle in which one angle is larger than 90 degrees. And then the right triangle is a triangle with one 90-degree angle. So that's one way that I can classify triangles. I can classify them by those angles. Another way I might classify triangles is by their side lengths. You might be more familiar with this. You've maybe heard of people talk about equilateral triangles, and that means that they have all equal sides. You can definitely see the root word here and here to help you with that. That's an equilateral triangle. But there's also an isosceles triangle where you have at least two equal sides. And then there's a scalene triangle, and that has no equal sides. So pause the video, jot some notes. When you're done, come on back. I did do some pictures here for you, or found some pictures here for you, so you can take a look at the different kinds of triangles that we were just talking about. But then I wanted to move us on to talk about the right triangle specifically. So when I'm discussing triangles, I want to think about them from the perspective of properties of them. So here I've made a boxes and bullets list of right triangle properties. See if this makes sense to you. So we know a right triangle is going to have one right angle. We know a right triangle should have a right angle as the biggest angle in the triangle. And we know that the side opposite the right angle is the longest side. And I could also say that two line segments that form the right triangle would be considered perpendicular. Perpendicular, we saw that word before. That means that the two sides are making a 90-degree angle. So you can picture perpendicular like that. Those lines would be perpendicular to each other because where they intersect at a 90-degree angle. So make sure you have that information down in your notes. Okay, so once you have that done, you're going to work on this page in your math journal, and that is page 57, I believe, 57. So get that completed. When you have done that, you're going to come back and check your answers. And here are some sample answers that you could use for that. What's not a sample is this is a right triangle, this is obtuse, acute. But you may have said other properties about this, and that would be fine as long as they're properties. So be very specific with what properties you might have had. If you're not sure if your answers that you wrote are correct, you can come and show me those in class. Once you're done with that, you're going to go ahead and work on the home link, giving that a try. Make sure that you pay attention to the directions here that say write the letter or letters that match each statement. So you're going to need to go through each one and see which things it applies to. Be careful. You're going to see that there are, I think, 24 of them correct answers up in this top part. So once you think you have that done, come back and check your answers. And here are the answers, and I was right that there are 24 answers at the top part above the practice that you should have been able to get right. If you get above an 80, you are good. If not, make sure you come to the lesson. All right, thanks Team Kelly. Have a great night.